Good evening. My name is Paul Pirrone. I'm the Bedford Township Supervisor. Been in this job for roughly a year now, and I wanted to update the public on some of the things we have going on, some of the new businesses that have come in. And it's been a very interesting year, a huge learning curve, but it's been a really satisfying year, and I'm excited to continue this journey. So let me get right into it. We have had a lot of new companies. Syncreon was one of our biggest companies that have come in. They've taken over the old Michelin tire plant. They're looking at hiring roughly 200 people. They started out with 60, but they're a supplier to Fiat Chrysler. Really excited what the future holds with this company and to bring more jobs into Bedford and to fill an empty building. Our next company is MULCH. They're a composting company. You can take your leaves, your grass, your sticks, your brush, your old Christmas trees, and dump them over there off Smith Road in between Lewis and Telegraph. We had a really successful leaf and grass drop-off station here behind Township Hall all summer, and people loved it. We're looking for alternative ways to be able to dump your leaves and grass and debris so people don't burn them. Some people enjoy burning, and a lot of people don't. It really is a big problem in the neighborhoods on windy days. So we're trying to create avenues for people to have alternatives. So this business, MULCH, came around, and we created an ordinance for them. Well, not for them, we created an ordinance for you to be able to have composting in Bedford Township. Next company's, it's a microbrewer. They'd be moving into the old First Federal Bank off Lewis Avenue, another empty building getting filled up, but I'm really excited about this company. I think it's going to bring a lot to the community. The next company is Jacobs Supply. They're moving into the Whitman Ford building. It's kind of a neat story with Jacobs Supply. They're off of School Road right now, and that is not a primary road that can handle semis. Well, we're getting complaints from the neighbors because we're getting ready to fix that road, and we got a hold of Jacob. We said, you know, we've got some issues, you know, with semis. We need to look at getting you moved into a building. And working with him, we ended up getting it to where he's into the Whitman Ford building. He purchased that building, and what a great guy he is. We're really excited for the business to be there. It's going to bring a lot of life to the area. I want to get into housing a little bit. In the county, out of 200 new builds, Bedford Township has 119 going on. We have 9 million in apartments going up, 4.5 million in commercial projects. And if the economy holds up, there will be a lot more coming as well. Moving on to township initiatives, we've created a Lewis Avenue corridor committee. This committee was formed to look at Pickard Road all the way to State Line and how we can go after businesses, make downtown beautiful to where people want to move their new businesses there. So we have a lot going on with that committee. We just applied for a TAP grant. We're working on that with our Mannequin Smith, our township engineer. So we're looking forward to get a sizable chunk of money, up to $500,000, to do a lot of needed upgrades into that area. Next, I wanted to talk about the Cyber Center. This was a partnership with Monroe Community College and the schools, and at this time it's just being worked through Monroe Community College, and we have a lot of different members on that board. But basically it's a place for students to get an education on cyber, another avenue to get a certificate, or you know, and the surrounding students from other high schools can attend this, so it's going to bring a lot of people into Bedford. The next I wanted to talk about the Bedford Veterans Committee. A lot has gone on with this committee, a lot of good. They've actually gotten to the point where they have formed another group, and it's a 501c3. We realized with the Veterans Committee we have here at Township Hall, if somebody comes in for a need, we can't help them with that committee. So that's why we created the 501c3, or they created it. That way, if somebody comes in for a need, we can direct them to them and they can help them. They've raised a lot of money, roughly $35,000, and they actually have a new facility, the old post office off of Temperance Road. Really excited for them, and I think a lot of good's going to come out of it. They're looking for support and anybody that wants to help. Ted Fitzgerald is heading up that committee, so I'm really excited. Moving on to the Bedford Senior Center, we're looking at the possibility of a new senior center. The senior center we're in right now is off of Samaria and Jackman Road. It's off the beaten path. It's in an old school. It's multi-level. The seniors have to set up and tear down, go upstairs, go downstairs for different activities. It just doesn't work well for their needs. We looked at partnering with the YMCA and ProMedica, and we are in the works right now of in discussions of how we can make that happen. It's going really well. We're working with the schools to look at different properties and different ideas and options. Next is the sanitary sewer plant. Back in the 70s, Pearl Albert Green started doing a fund to where we could set aside money for upgrades, and she did a great job in doing that. We have roughly $3.5 million for the upgrades for this plant because of that fund that was started back then. We're looking at $12 million in upgrades for that plant. Some of these pieces of equipment in there are roughly 35, 40 years old, and the life of them is only 25, some of the brushes and different things. So that is definitely needed. We have saved a lot of money in our maintenance department. We actually lost one of our members, or one of our maintenance employees this year, and we didn't replace him. We decided we would use a more seasonal help to save money in some areas. And we've been budgeting for a dump truck, and we got creative and decided that we're not going to need a dump truck. We can just utilize different options as far as salt spreaders for the dumps that we have. We're trying to build a salt station behind the maintenance garage to where we don't have to drive to Summerfield to get salt anymore. So we're just trying to figure out new ways to save money and be creative in the things that we do. Our maintenance helped out a lot with the library lighting initiative for LED lights. They worked over there whenever they didn't have much to do and changing out light bulbs. So moving on to roads. I just received our asset management plan for the next 5 years through Romanek and Smith, and I'm really excited to say that we have a lot of ideas going, and through the efforts in the last 6 years in doing this, we've gotten to the point where we're really close to completing all the major projects. One thing that we're looking at this year is to bond all the northern roads. There's roughly 6 miles left of roads that are just in terrible shape, and they've been like that for a long time. We're looking at Whiteford Center and then a partnership with Adler down the road with Whiteford. In doing all these projects, if we can get this bond through, we would have completed all the major projects in Bedford. And going forward, we would just need to maintenance these roads, which is a lot easier to swallow than having to spend $400,000 on one fix for a road. And it should be noted that we've used mostly general funds in a lot of these repairs. Wanted to talk about the snow plowing initiative. We have a partnership going with the Road Commission to assist them. We had a gentleman come through the doors this year, along with many other phone calls and Facebook messages, wondering what are we going to do about these roads in the neighborhoods. And you know, he watched the school bus slide through a stop sign, and that got me thinking to where, what can we do? So I got a hold of Jason Shepard, our state rep, and Randy Pierce with the Road Commission, and we started talking about different ideas. Well, I've gotten to the point where we've hired 4 seasonal people at $15 a piece, roughly, and we have 3 plow trucks in our maintenance department, and we will work with Stoneco. and using their plows. So on day one, if we get 3, 4, 5+ inches, we haven't decided what the actual snowfall amount will be when we pull the trigger to do this. We'll be ready to clear all the snow in subdivisions within the first 8 to 10 hours, which is really exciting. So look for that, and if you have any questions, give me a call. The fire department, we've hired our new chief, as everybody knows, and he's been doing amazing things in our fire department. We're looking at improving and upgrading a lot of the equipment. We have 28, 29, 30-year-old pieces of equipment that break down on some of the runs that they do. And the last thing you want is when you call the fire department to come out and rescue you or put a fire out, is for that piece of equipment to break down. So we are looking at new ways to figure out how to fund that. I wanted to talk about medical marijuana a little bit. This has been a big issue since I've taken office, and I haven't taken it lightly because every issue is serious to some people. So I've gone to meetings, MTA meetings, a lot of different stuff. I've done my homework. I've talked to different supervisors, mayors, city council people into what and why they're doing this in their township. But the problem is with the home occupation we have from '08, we have a mess on our hands in Bedford Township with that. There's a lot to be looked at with that. As far as, we need to educate the people that have these facilities on what our ordinances is. We get calls, complaints, almost on a weekly basis about smells and different activity that's going on. And then you have the option of going to the 5 licenses that the state is putting in the hands of the townships, which we don't know what that can bring. And then at the end of the year, they're looking at a proposal to have it go legalized recreationally. So we have 3 things that we could potentially have here in the township. So we have decided we just need to take our time. It'll be on our next agenda in the first meeting in February. And we'll decide if we're going to opt in, opt out, or do nothing at that time. But in my opinion, we just need to really take our time and kind of wait and see what happens with everything. Some of the future goals, we want to bring more to Bedford as far as events. Somebody had brought the Rib Fest last year, and we're looking at a Bedford Battle of the Lights with Christmas lights. A lot of people come with ideas, and that's great. That's what we need. We need other people working on some of these ideas. We're looking at a community food fest at Forest View possibly this year. And so just different things like that. I wanted to talk a little bit about communication. That was a big thing that I ran on, was communication. I don't know if you noticed, our ordinance department has their own Facebook page that you could comment to and ask questions. Our department and the supervisor's office have opened up our Facebook page to where you can comment now, and so we can answer questions. We show up to different businesses. We do ribbon cuttings now to where we expose your new business. So a lot of things are happening as far as communication that has worked very well. George Welling was hired to get out communication more, expose our township and what we have to offer to bring people here. It's economic development. So I'm excited with him. That's why we're doing this today, to communicate. We want to increase economic development and attract new businesses. That's why we're talking about bringing back the Economic Development Committee to look at properties and put a package together for those properties, just to be proactive in what we have here. We do have prime real estate left here in Bedford Township. I wanted to talk about saving money and reducing expenses. With the library, we did a lighting initiative to where we redid all the lights and did the LED lights in that building. If you drive by at night now, you can really tell that it's had an upgrade. But what we did was we changed out all the LED lights. We got with a company and got a government pricing for the bulbs. We hired a company and worked out a deal to where they would utilize apprentices, and I would use my maintenance guys to kind of assist when they could. We got the job done at a reasonable cost, roughly $30,000, $35,000. And the payback right now is we're saving roughly $2,000 a month. So the payback's going to be in a year and a half with what we've done with the library. We had a little bit of a disaster at the fire department off Temperance Road to where the roof collapsed roughly 6 to 8 inches. We had bids in upwards of $100,000 to fix it. We hired an ironworker foreman and got 4 volunteers from Bedford Township, all residents here, and they fixed it for roughly $8,000 to got the roof to where it was safe. So just different things like that. With the library, they needed their mulch replaced and cleaned up and trimmed. Typically that's around $4,000, and we had volunteers from Bridgepoint Church do it, and we bought the mulch. It was roughly $500. So we're being creative in how we do things here. We're looking at doing a lighting initiative here at the Township Hall, and possibly in the future at some of the fire departments that we have. It's a huge savings with this LED lighting. We've replaced all the street light bulbs with an upgraded bulb that's saving roughly $3,000 a month. So all the little expenses add up. Actually, these are big expenses. We're working with Monroe Community College and the Whitman Center on how we can brand that college and bring more business there and have it be a little bit of a hub. That's where our cyber center is. So we're really excited in that partnership with them. We're working with Bedford schools in different ways and how we can increase enrollment. We're looking at talking about how we can buy things like toilet paper together and remove snow on roads together. So just building a relationship with them has been a huge success, and getting things done. We all have to work together. We're looking at working on Secor Road. As far as widening it, we're seeing an issue there with some traffic backing up. As you all know, off Smith Road right there, it backs up to state line some days. So we're looking at what we need to do to fix that problem. And the first thing we've decided that we need to do is a study. We need to have a study done on what needs to be done there. I've been with Leadership Monroe this year to where I'm learning all about Monroe and how we can work together as a county as a whole to get things done and be more proactive as a county and not just be a Bedford in its own little community. We need to work together as a county to be able to get things done. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve Bedford Township. It's been an honor this last year, and I'll continue to work hard and communicate and do the job that I was elected to do, and that's to serve you. Thank you very much.